Thank you, though. Okay, so this poem is called The Dinner Table. It's basically about silence, so I'm just going to read it. One of the words I remember learning when I was training my tongue to spit out the sharp letters of this language is silence. Actually, it was silent, but I couldn't really tell the difference. You see, I wrote out shaky letters on paper because I needed to memorize them for later. The teacher was looking for an answer that I had to show her. Little does she know that. I've grown familiar to the concept of silence, knew the feeling before the spelling, and when it came to communicating, I clenched my teeth and kept staring. Because the only language I knew how to speak was foreign poetry that they couldn't see to feel. So I stared at the ceiling as the teacher spoke in hopes that if I look away, she'll reciprocate. I can't articulate my knowledge. And at that moment, I promised myself I'll never take my voice for granted. When senior year rolled around, I got frustrated as the English teacher started class with silence. A woman that always had something wise to say, something beyond my years, was letting it all go to waste. And when she speaks, all of us are relieved as she says, "Why does silence make us so uncomfortable?" I didn't understand what she means because silence has always been about comfort. Silence is unbothered, unfazed. Silence fails to die when it glazes over unspeakable events. Silence lives in a 3-story house with a swimming pool. Silence gets coffee every morning in a gentrified neighborhood. Silence gets mad when the waiter could not get her 3-minute order right the first time around. Silence only watches Fox News and reality TV. Actually, silence doesn't watch the news because it doesn't want to corrupt its views. Silence doesn't protest because it has better things to do. Silence thinks that all lives matter because she never had her son babysat by a gunshot in a parking lot while playing with a toy. Silence thinks the only reaction to a bullet is to swallow it, is to allow it to rip through generations without frustration. Silence wanders between alleys at night. It dims the street light as a woman, an unwilling body, follows a line a man set for her when he drugged her drink, with the intention to carve a line along her spine. But silence thinks everything is fine. Silence tells the victim to shut up. Silence allowed her dress to speak to the man before she can and justified it. Silence smiled at you through clenched teeth at the grocery store. And later on that afternoon, silence went home and complained. She shouldn't have to compete with your people for a job or a loan or school or a home. Silence thinks it has more of a right to exist than other people. I mean words. Silence takes credit for your words. Silence leaves every time someone gets a place at the table. Actually, silence is the table. It's the ceiling. It's the lights. It's everything white and light and fair. Silence. I know it's unfair to paint you with words. I know that you are not dependent on time or space, that silence then is silence now, but I'm plastering your face all over town as you say, innocent until proven guilty. Isn't that what you said when the murder involved white supremacy? P.S. This is not dedicated to my silence, or the black boy's silence, or the immigrant's silence, or the queer man's silence. This is dedicated to the silence that got offended at this poem, the silence that only wants to see its own type of silence, the silence that told the woman to lower her voice, the silence that has a choice.